So what we're going to do for our character's reload animation, we're going to create another montage. So I'm going to go ahead and animation montage, select our skeleton. I'm going to call this one reload montage. The animation we're going to grab is our emergency reload and drop it in. And it's going through and it's playing how it's supposed to. So I'm just going to save it. And under here, I'm going to make a new one, call it reload. Change that slot to reload. And as usual, it's going to do that weird delimiter, just drag it, and we're back to normal. I don't know why it does that. It's just a weird little bug. So we go to, no, actually I want to set this under fire. That should still, just so we don't have to have another slot there, it should all still work the same. Right, so we're good there. We just need to add another animation instance to our character. Oh, right here, the UE animation montage. Let's call this one reload animation. And inside of our on reload, where we did our fire, we're going to be doing kind of the same thing here. So we're going to setting it to play. Oh, we need to get our animation instance actually first. We're going to be setting it to play. And what we're going to be playing is our reload montage. So if reload animation, and we get the animation instance, then anim instance play or montage underscore play, and the montage to play, which is our reload animation, then the play rate is 1. Now we don't have any, we only have one animation, so we're just going to set it to actually play it, and that's all. So let's go ahead and compile. Make sure we set it in the character blueprint. Right, that's finished. Reload animation, reload montage, compile, save. And I got to recompile this. I don't understand why that does that. There we go. And reload. All right, so we're reloading, even though the weapon doesn't need to be. So I'm just going to drop empty real quick. And there's our reload animation. As you can see, it's a little buggy as we don't have any conditions to switch, like to stop the animation, if that makes sense. So what I want to do is, let's see. I'm going to make a Boolean in our weapon. Let's call it, well, actually, let's make a return function. Bool is slide locked. And what it's going to do, we're going to return ammo left equals 0. Well, if it equals 0. So ammo left equals 0. So if that's true, then the slide is in fact locked. If not, we're going to perform a normal reload. So if weapon is slide locked, jump to emergency reload, else normal reload, and compile. So that's how we're going to determine whether or not we do a emergency reload or a normal reload. It should still blend. Not sure how well it's going to blend when we're aiming down sights and then do it, but we'll see. All right, let me empty it out. Reload. I kind of like it. It's pretty nice. well, for what it is. So we now have a basic reloading animation set up. So now that that's done, and that covers just about everything. I do want to do like a normal reload animation. Like, I don't know if it's going to be worth doing, but I don't know. We'll see. If there's another video after this, then I've made up my mind. If not, this can be the last tutorial of this series. So I'm going to do a quick overview of how we have everything kind of set up in the project. So specifically to our normal movements, such as aiming down the sights, when we go to just have our normal idle, walking, moving, sprinting, etc. We're doing that all in the blend space for our movement, and that's getting controlled in our animation blueprint for our with our state machine. Things like shooting, reloading, and that kind of stuff, we're going to set that up and do that inside of a montage. So we can still do stuff while we're moving and sprinting and all that. So like I'll be sprinting, I reload, and I'm right back to sprinting and that kind of stuff. It just helps it blend fluidly, and the same thing goes with shooting. So even though I can shoot while I'm sprinting, we should actually have a way to disable that. But it allows me to shoot when I'm moving and still just kind of blend through the animations really well. So I guess jumping like just controls the speed slightly off, so that's not a big deal. So that's how that kind of changes it up. So we could do a quick little change and do like if we are falling, meaning we're jumping or in the air and stuff like that, we're not going to perform, or we're not going to set the player speed, we're just going to set it to 0, so it's the quote unquote idle. It's just little tweaks like that. And then for the weapon, we could use an animation montage for controlling the weapon reloads and stuff like that, but I'm not too super concerned with it. I do want to actually change the character animation montage to blend into 0.15. Just make it a little snappier. In my opinion, it just looks nicer. So we could set up the weapon animations to actually work through montages as well, which would probably actually be a little bit of a smarter choice. So that way you can have it working together alongside of the montage for the character. So you would just kind of fire them both and it would be dictated that way. So for example, let's say we have a shotgun. Well, we have to keep putting shells inside the tube for each reload. So let's say you completely run it dry, you could pull the action back, throw a shell inside the chamber, close the chamber, flip the gun over, or however you play out your animation. And you could run a loop inside of the animation montage that continually feeds shells into the weapon until it is full. Once it's full, we have options. We can create a notifies, which are kind of like little events that we can create so it'll fire, and that'll stop the animation and will return back to normal. So let's say you had a full shotgun tube, you fired 2 shells. You flip it over, the loop would run twice, that event would fire, and it would stop the rest of the reload, and we would go back to normal because the shotgun's full. And it would be the same thing. You would use that to dictate like how many how do I explain like how many times you would need to run that loop to fill your shotgun, if that makes sense. So hopefully that was a brief explanation. I'm not an animator, artist, or anything like that by any means, as you can tell by the quality of the animations. And heck, that was actually my first reload animation that I've ever made, so. And I've never actually set any of this up until this tutorial, so hopefully this kind of helps some of you figure out any issues you've had, or if you were concerned about just starting it or anything like that. This will help just kind of comfort you as you ease into it and it starts to click in your head, because it can be a little bit intimidating. Same thing with everything. That's why I just have tutorials, period. You guys can hopefully learn from them. Any mistakes that I make, you guys can call out. It helps me in the long run as well, as it helps me help you at the same time. So I just see it as a win-win. So hopefully you found this little series useful. There might be one more video where it would just be a normal reload animation, but I already showed you how to use the montage for the firing, both as irons and from the hip. So I don't know if there's going to be any need, as you can probably figure it out from there. I will be uploading this blend file in the description as well for you to use and tinker around with. Just remember, I'm missing some animations because I forgot to, well, do that. So one final save and close. So hopefully y'all found this useful, and the next real videos you should be seeing should be the start for the World at War tutorial series, where we start recreating Nazi zombies. So I'm really excited for that one, and I will be seeing you then. Have a good one.